I forgot to turn on the recording. I'm not reading this. You can read it yourself. Anyway, they're leaving. That's all there is. You missed nothing recording, people. But we're about to get to the part that I really wanted to talk about. I have a question. Is Anon a Gary Stew? Okay? I have serious issues with how Anon has been presented so far. And this is too much. This is too much. Oh, Anon, before you go, I told the Principal Spears, the Neanderthal smiling. Your parents told me they required a little strength for Olivia. Speak sure as you can. What? We're just giving backpats now? You've already shown this, okay? This has already been shown to the audience. Now some random person he's just met that never saw him before is like, oh, you're such a good guy, Anon. My problems with Gary Mary Stews, right, is they usually represent a character that doesn't do anything. That doesn't go anywhere, that doesn't have anything to say, that's just kind of around so that the author feels cool about something. Alright? That's their point, is they are mechanically, thematically, plot-wise just uninteresting. They are not a character, they're just a set piece, a prop. And this is just too much for me. Why is Spears calling out Anon's good behavior? He has just met him. He will see him for 2 years. Why doesn't he say this later? If we do the turnaround, he's like, by the way, don't mess up this time. If he does that, Senator, Kino, that's peak. But otherwise, why is this here? Why does it matter? Why doesn't this come later? After, it's so. Anon cannot do wrong. Despite that being the whole fucking reason he's here, is because he did so much fucking wrong that he... Again, character assassination. Character assassination. Pausing for a moment, I shrug with a small smile on my snout. Fuck! I should just make it like a miniature bingo card, okay? Just a miniature bingo card. If the sentence includes the words smile, snout, pause, etc., you know? Maybe I should do that. If only so I fucking remember. It's not just been me, sir. And that was the truth as I thought about my parents' dough and warned pretty much all the students back. Yeah, man. What a cruel and cold world, huh? Fucking asshole. And NASA, the aforementioned, I hope would be returning to form if need be. A lot of others as well, the way I see it. But all of others as well, the way I see it. Should I say it? This story, you know, the Senator bringing it up, like everything going so well for Anon, it really does feel like this story needs to get meta. This story needs to address its meta context. It would be so interesting to have this whole thing of, like, Anon does great and everything's going fine. And then someone is like, no, you're not getting away with this. Because so little has happened. The only way to break out of this is for something to happen that even the fucking plot armor can't avoid. Olivia is basically a plot armor with how her wheelchair and everything has resolved and how Anon, everyone's okay with it. Like, the thing needed to make this shakeup interesting... Big. Gotta be big or really well written dramatically. But nothing. We're in Disneyland. Nothing happens. It's a small world after... I don't even know how that goes. It was the first time I seen Principal Spears taken aback as if I literally read his fucking script for him. He then hits me on the head and demands to know how I read it. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Fuck off. Go to hell. Olivia was waiting for me as she inspected a timetable with her open backpack. So, what's your schedule for first period? I reached into my pockets, producing the folded sheet of paper to check as we compare our timetables. I got, fuck, Mr. Tsuki. To this day, I wasn't sure how out of all dinosaurs they could have chosen, out of all the people they could have chosen as an English teacher, he was the one they picked. Mr. Tsuki's English was enough to extract a stroke out of any careful listener. And it seemed my pain this time around was going to be shared as Olivia perked up upon seeing the name. Same, also sharing. Science, PF, PE. Okay, the last class was... I was going to say about that in regards to Olivia. I mean, you can accommodate, like, you know, rolling your wheelchair around a track is just as intense as running. It's about moving the mass. You just get more inertia. You get to preserve that a bit more. But, you know, take an extra lap. Still hard to do, especially if you go fast, because rubber wheels high friction, especially on most running track terrain, is pretty high friction, which is bad for wheels. It needs to be... from some... It needs something. Yeah, it'd be interesting if Anon just exists as a human being. The problem is, this has been 99% just build up to what? There is no build up because we're not going anywhere. There's the implication that build up should be happening because that's how stories work, but we get nothing. Like, we never got Olivia has migraines that are building up, or things just happen because they have to. Anyway, I wouldn't have much input, seeing as I skipped almost every gym class in my previous life. I look back at my timetable to inspect the relevant classes I had. Mrs. Tsuki was first period of course, Dr. Farnsworth the fourth, Mr. Kaldowski fifth, Mrs. Jingo for the last, as if the aforementioned could be considered a class and not just free time. And PE with Mr. Boomstick reserved for Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hey, I had that too. Wait, I'm gonna think of it as wasn't this my schedule when I was... An eardrum shattering squeal started. If this was a better fucking plot, this would mean something. An eardrum It's... Squeals out between two. Oh, you two share first period with me! I'd almost done a Scooby-Doo and jumped right into Olivia's lap from the sudden Naomi jump scare. The baryonyx faring no better, she smashed her tail against the floor in shock and surprise, almost denting the ground. Depends on the ground if it's dents or shatters. Oh, did I startle you two? The pink Paracephalopolis asked innocently. Yeah, actually, I nodded shakily. I shakily nodded, Olivia slowly recovering, only to sink into a chair and find the lockers a lot more... You've already done this one pretty recently. It's a fairly specific way to describe this. All of a sudden, upon noticing Nasa's approach as well. Were you both waiting for us? Joe Swanson, all upper body. Hell yeah. Be fucking interesting. Be something. I mean, knowing this guy, she does just fine. Or it becomes a sad story, and everyone's like, "Oh, don't worry, Olivia. I know that you're disabled. You're not good. You're very unhealthy. You will never amount to anything in your life. But it's fine. You just keep, okay. Go sit inside and do painting. We don't want the woman getting sweaty. You already fridged once for Anon's convenience. Of course, we have to show you where the elevator is after all." Naomi then brushed past us, Nasa slowly trailing us. Albeit beside me more like. Jesus fucking Christ, just kiss already. Perhaps unable to muster the courage to walk beside Olivia, still distracted by his thoughts. The four of us made our way to the elevator. Met a little close shut at the moment as Naomi turned to us. Just use the keycard on the scanner and wait for the beep. You can press the button to call the elevator down. Shouldn't it just come down if you use the beeper? Why would you have to push a fucking button? Like, it's an elevator for very specific situations. Why not just make it automatic? Who cares? Naomi explained cheerfully. Something helpful for once as Olivia not. I mean, she explained more helpful things. Olivia just zoned out. Fishing the keycard out of her pocket, placing it against the black screen, a beep sounding as she followed the instructions. A few moments later, before the door finally opened, showing a spacious interior, Olivia wheeled herself inside as I followed, the two of us turning as Olivia pressed the hold door button. Awkward elevator ride or not? It'd be a nice gesture to bring them both upstairs. Only Nasa and Naomi just continued to stand there, Olivia and I staring at them as we continued waiting. Stop continuing and just do it already. Are you going? Shouldn't Olivia ask this? Why are you asking, Anon? This is Olivia's fucking question. She's the one holding the fucking door. The two of them blinking as Nasa stuttered. No, I don't want to go to E1M2. I want to go to E1M8. I want to get the secret level. I want to get the secret level. Huh? Oh wait. Yeah. Are you sure? Why not? I'm pretty sure. Anon, for fuck's sake, I'm the one holding the door for my boyfriend. What the fuck are you doing? Stealing your boyfriend with class. Okay. Nasa nodded as he walked forward. Thanks. Pterodactyl then moved inside. His wing would make for a very awkward amount of space. And taking a position in the corner, Olivia bowing her head closer to the buttons as if to hide herself. Looking back, Olivia, are you sure about this? You're on ass level. Looking back, I noticed Naomi continued standing there, breathing standing, a trace of a frown on her face, not on her snout, as I heard her mutter. Oh no! In the meta plot, this means that that Nasser has chosen Olivia, except it was Anon who asked, and so the fucking thing doesn't work, and also we haven't really done too much with this, so fuck you! I'm not giving you that point. Olivia peeking out of the door from her wheelchair. Where are you going? The pink parasol with Philopoulos. Come on, call a coral. Or something, I don't know. stopped dead in her tracks, turning around as she blinked behind her glasses. Instead of in front of her glasses, myself speaking up as I leaned out as well. Yeah, didn't you say you had English class with us? Screamed more like, but I can't let bygones be bygones. Did you say? Jesus, oh, I get it. Naomi must have thought we were only inviting Nasser into the elevator, seeing as we knew him. And only for a moment I could see Naomi's facade just completely drop. This time not to reveal frustration, anger, or annoyance, but a genuine astoundment for once. Barely believing we were holding the door. At this point, you should have just taken the fucking stairs with how long this has been taking. Her shoulders scrunched together, stature growing smaller as the digit featured uncomfortably together. She looked meek. Something I've never really seen of Naomi before. A complete inverse of an annoyingly extroverted personality. I didn't say that. Okay, so are we hooking him up with Naomi now? I don't even know what we're doing here. I'm very confused. Because romance really seems to be the only thing this thing actually cares about, so... The pink pareidolia then stood there for a few moments. Olivia and I briefly peering at one another with raised eyes? What, you mean like you're rolling your eyes back? Before I peered back. Ugh. Writing really is deteriorating rapidly. You gonna come in? Her snout seemed to close shut before she quickly nodded. What is that? What are you even doing? Finally entering as Olivia pressed the button onto our door, letting the doors close. Almost spent the elevator ride in uncomfortable silence, which admittedly was a welcome reprieve. Your ego's too heavy. I used the moment to peer at Nasser and Naomi briefly, the two standing in separate corners of the elevator, noticing the two of them seemed to be lost in some sort of thought. Yes, unlike that other thing you get lost in, a maze. Nasser still conflicted while Naomi, well, I had no idea what was going on that ahead of us. Not that I could ever say I really knew the real Naomi. I turned away from the doors. I turned away as the doors opened with a ding, indicating that we had reached our destination. Stepping out first, I gave Olivia ample time to exit. Nasser and Naomi following after as we moved into the hallway. A few students milling about or extracting items from their lockers. Man, imagine having like a locker on the highest floor, but you always have your classes on the lowest. Might as well not bother at that point. Well, I had no idea what was going on that ahead of us. Not that I could ever say I really knew the real Naomi. I turned away. Okay, I'm falling back. Miss Satsuki's class was to the right. Naomi pausing before turning to us, putting on a fake persona, if not absolutely doubling down on it. Wow, I always wanted to like to ride the school elevator. Thanks. No problem. Olivia tried to speak, but Naomi cut her off. But we should really get going. Class is starting soon, Aunt. She attempted to urge us to class and away from Nasser. I would have put my foot down had Olivia not spoken up instead. Actually, Naomi. The pink paraphernalia blinked as the baryonyx, as Barry from Half-Life 2, garnered her attention. There's something about this that just doesn't click for me. Can you go ahead to class without us? Anon and I want to talk a bit with Nasser. After pausing for a moment, I then smiled alongside Olivia, hoping that Naomi would at least find it in herself to understand. My throat is starting to die. I don't know why. Extracting items from their lockers, living in Tarkov. Yeah, my throat's starting to feel a little tiny pang of ouchies. I don't know why. It's not good. We'll catch up with you and stuff. Naomi seemed prepared to open her snout to say something before looking at Nasser, perhaps realizing only just now how despondent and out of it the pterodactyl looked. I'd like to imagine that I saw sympathy behind those glasses of hers. I would include a but or something after that. Oh, sure. Naomi slowly nodded before reassuming her cheery facade. Of course! She then waved. Goodbye, Nasser. See you at lunch. Naomi was given no response as she turned around, making way to English class. Olivia and I now turning to Nasser. As we approach... You're fucking cornering this man in the elevator? Nasser slightly perked up, unable to keep that bothered expression from his face as he opened his snout to say something. Only to give up and shut it closed, constantly second-guessing himself. Olivia rolled up to them. To who? To him? As I stood aside, giving them... Who's the first them? My foster assistant. Why is this phrased like this? Nah, sorry, sorry, but the baryonyx waste. Pterodactyl and formal devastated before. Only for what? What? I'm very lost now. Only for Olivia to look up with an unsteady snout, her sobs having barely contained giggles as her claw tugged at the hem of his tacky jacket, stretching the fabric. Reading all these sentences in one breath really does make clear this guy does not understand how short a sentence should be. What the hell are you even wearing? This entire time since entering Volcano High, avoiding gazes with Nas was not because of some embarrassment or misguided, she say, or because she thinks he's hot. Maybe that's why. But the fact that she could barely look at that gaudy vest without losing it. Never change, Olivia. The baryonyx laughed out loud. Nas are completely taken aback as he blinked before gesturing. Again, the way he does that, blinked before gesturing, like the structured ordering is just weird. His claws turned... What? An unsure but hopeful look on the face of... You like it? Sure. Seethe? You see... It's like this man doesn't understand English. Seething. Here we go. Filled with intense but unexpressed anger. She hates this man's guts for his jacket taste. Jesus! But only because you look like you scraped up an entire flower garden. 5 years doing your standards are still so low. It's good to see you again, sir. You had realized that puke greener would have been salvaged. I don't even know. I even know. Pterodactyl seemed in a trance before his snout finally lit up with relief and happiness. Lost what happened than I'd ever seen him be. I miss you so much, Olivia. It was now Olivia's turn to look slightly stunned, silver eyes blinking. Unfortunately, the school bell picked the perfect time. That's all it ever does. It goes off at the right moment. It's alerting us that the classes were about to start. Nasser appeared to the other hall before looking back down to face Olivia. My glass the other way, but he rubbed the back of his neck. I'd like to catch up with you. Pterodactyl looks slightly frantic. If that's all right, if we get the chance. Sure. She awkwardly nodded. Nasser nodded. Now Olivia nodded. I started nodding. Then he gives a smile, because of course he does. On a snout, you know. And then he peered at her. Turning around and running off as I rejoined Olivia, the two of us moving on to our own classes. More stuff I kind of wanted to say. She did fast, and I looked at her, raising an eye. You don't raise an eye, you raise a brow, you dumb asshole! Really? Like what? She shrugged, pushing her wheels forward. Olivia closed her eyes, pausing for a moment to organize her thoughts. I guess I kind of knew that if Nasser saw me again, he'd be upset about it. She sighed, looking down at the wheelchair. This? Now here I am, I just letting myself into his life again. I feel happy, but I also feel kind of guilty. Yeah, he has been avoiding it. An M65 jacket. M65 jacket. It's a bit military, isn't it? You should go with like that white iridescent stuff that just looks way too tacky. Hold on. What the hell? What the heck? Never mind, I got distracted by something very strange. James Sunderland also wears that jacket. Oh no! I should have thought of that. I'm thinking about how that jacket... Oh, whatever. I was going to say something, only to realize we had already arrived. How far are you from class? God damn it, why does it feel like everything today was getting in the way of everything? Well, because everything is everything. Reaching out and trying not to grumble, I opened the door. How is it not already open? Aren't the doors just open until the teacher closes it? Naomi, of course, front and center, giving a small, constant wave to us with a big smile on us now. And a familiar Stegosaurus, cyan eyes blinking at our arrival. Oh shit, it was Stella! I don't exactly remember the Weeby Stegosaurus being in Mr. Tsuki's class, but then again, why would you? You're like, again, isn't this like a year before? Mr. Tsuki, after all, was dressed like a Dino Rai shampoo character. A what? Oh, wait, you weren't kidding about that shit? Where was it? Where was that statement? Samurai shampoo, which to me just sounds like shampoo. Give me that fresh shampoo hot dog. Tastes like ass, but it's got character. But also making the worst English teacher in existence. A teacher fits for a student, I guess. What? Or maybe Stella, even Stella had a limit for the amount of weebiness she could take. Currently, the Stegosaurus was seated halfway in the class order. Her appearance not much different than what she looked like a year later. From what I remembered from Stella, she was always pretending to be mysterious and aloof fortune teller. I thought she just was, only to have little success in that prospect. Wasn't she perfectly on point with how you fucked up? But for all her eccentricity, she was a good student and never bad company. Maybe I'd get to know her a bit better this time around. Held the door open for Olivia to enter first. You already said you were holding the door open. Oh no, you just opened it. You weren't holding it open necessarily. Whatever. I held the door open for Olivia to enter first. Natsuki finally taking notice as he turns. How slow is he? Oh, hello! Yoto! Must be Anon-kun and Olivia-chan. What? Olivia had the exact same thought I had in my previous life, slightly tilting her head as if trying to make sure she hadn't misheard. Fortunately, she hadn't, and I felt sorry for whatever omnipotent schmuck was riding out our life right now. Fuck off! Karasu today, you have to new karasu meto. No, that would be maito. Meto. Ato borokenuai. He then gestured to us politely, because everyone just fucking gestures. Anon Olivia-chan, please introduce yourself. Olivia seemed to understand what Satsuki wanted us to do. The two of us briefly locking eyes at one another. Myself having laid back. Again, Anon's like fucking 30, 40. 36. Why is he so, goofy with the pog champing and everything? You're not a teen, Anon! You're not! You're just like... Does this guy is Anon more mature or not? Because like the whole part is like, oh no, Anon, you're so mature, you're so calm. And then he fucking pog champs with Olivia in sync like he's a fucking teen. Like, what are you doing? What are you trying to communicate here? Which one is it? I wish I had something I could just hit really hard to make my point. But I don't want to damage anything. Which one is it? Just pick one. All eyes, like, even fucking Spears, like, just before that was like, afterwards was like, such an immature boy, Anon. All eyes were, okay. The two of us briefly locking eyes with one another. Myself giving a layback truck, decidedly? You mean you decided to go first, before Olivia? Also, if you go first before Olivia, yes, if you go first, you go before someone else, you asshole. All eyes were upon me as I came up the middle. Up the middle? A few students whispering to one another, too low for me to hear. Stella seemed attentive, cyan eyes gazing between Olivia and me. Can we just get the fucking love triangle already? It's crazy to think that in my past life I was an erratic and social mess when introducing myself for the first time in Mr. Tsuki's class. My nervous heartbeat was allowed in the sense I was stringing together. How scared I was of those judging eyes. Now I could even hardly... Because you're 35! Like, you're at the age where you stop giving a shit. You probably stopped caring about teens 10 years ago. We were 25. Hey, I'm Anon. I give a casual... Just arrived from Missouri Private up in Genoga Park a few weeks ago. The Caldera Blossom pretty cool. It's not with the apostrophe. Except for the morning mist. Almost smacked my snout against a tree in the morning because of it. Actually got in a few chuckles. As for hobby, I don't know. I like boxing. With Olivia into getting cute.
Olivia, I'm also from Mrs. Private. I draw stuff.
They did say a while back his mind is regressing to his new life age. What do you mean? Mind explaining? You better explain that, Senator, because I better find that fucking text. Otherwise, I'm going to stay really angry for a while. It just feels so weird, you know? Because, like, the whole point is that he does better now, but then he's like, no, I'm not better. I'm just different. Also, that's fucking terrifying. I don't know how to put this down, okay, but if I was like a 30... Okay, imagine you're like, what, 40, 50 years old. You know, you're like an old man. And you become a teenager again. Let's say we're going to give you a little time, and you're like 14. First off, you're like, I don't want to date anyone. Fuck, my hormones are kicking in. Oh my god, my brain is being controlled by hormones. And you would just go nuts. The hormonal balance. Like, isn't that terrifying that you are just under control of a force you don't even fully understand? And you don't know where it's going to go. That, to me, terrifying. Like, the slow, gradual process of growing up is normal because you learn everything. But if you go from 40 to 14 and suddenly you have all that, damn, that'd be scary. Because then you realize just how much hormones dictate who you are as a person. Ooh, scary. Very scary. And out of the deadpan delivery class, my claws get what are you, the fucking teacher? So, any questions? Or, Of course, nobody had any, except Naomi raising her hands, and I began to regret asking. Pointing towards her. What was your old school like? She asked, her question feeling more probing than it should have.
Mrs. Private?
Olivia and I look at each other and then looking back at class. At least you're not peering back at each other and then peering back at class.
Old. Really old.
Yep, I know, in agreement. As a friend of mine would say, you think the stuff built in the 20s would mean it looked nice, but if anything, those other classes we had looked like they've been left alone since then. So, they're in 2019, technically, right? At most, they're 2020. The way the timeline works, if it aligns the way it should. Because Anon is in Volcano High in 2020. So why don't you specify in the 1920s? Just saying. Like, they have no context for this. Although I guess it does take a while before the decade you're in becomes the decade you're referring to when you use that term, doesn't it? A bit of laughter as I nodded, a bit of sad nostalgia in my thoughts. Yeah, I mean, you've been there. Despite all that, Olivia and I have attended for almost 12 years. Oh, some good dinos and people there that I already miss. Wow, 12 years at the same school. That's fucking weird. She then tilted her head innocently. Are you both siblings? Because you arrived together. Resisted the urge to roll my eyes. Why would anyone else in class know what's going on here? Like, only Naomi knows. Shouldn't you clarify why you're asking that? I was really look a little silly. Resist the urge to roll my eyes, knowing that Naomi already knew the answer. If she had been if she had been talking to Nasser. Olivia speaking.
Yeah, but we're not related.
By blood. More whispers. About what? Adoption? Dang. Harsh. Too bad this is Disneyland and no one's gonna be mean about it. Something I didn't like as I briefly glanced at Sailor, eyes blinking at us with intrigue. I don't think blinking is very intrigue-filled. It's the eyes that do the work. Naomi was about to ask another question, only for Mr. Tsuki, fortunately, to step in and continue the class. Agreto daze. Eto segundo to hear you to speak about your experience outside Volcano High. God, please, I feel stroke coming along. No Paris retanto yoshito. Anon kunando Olivia-chan. Olivia and I nod, making our way to the only seats left behind. Moving away the chair at Olivia's desk as she would slot her wheelchair in. When I moved into my seat, two of us sitting side by side. Hai, no kurasu. Everything said by Mr. Tsuki blurby on that point. Olivia and I pretty much glancing out the open window of the daydream. It couldn't help that how unintelligible Mr. Tsuki was. Probably would have continued to ignore the lesson until I noticed a hint of sign peering behind me. How do you notice something behind you? I looked away from the window to see Stella staring at Olivia and me. Oh, God, please be a lesbian love triangle. Her eyes wide open, realizing she'd been caught. Or I would love it if she just knows. Immediately turning away with a slight even pretending to find Mrs. Tsuki's class interesting as she fumbled at her desk. Deck of tarot cards under their feet, trying to discern. I would like it. There's a fun thing you can do where, like, because she's technically accurate, like the fortune telling is accurate. Not Goodbye Volcano High. That's the fun part. I like that Goodbye Volcano High takes tarot as it is, which is you just fucking work it. Whereas here they play tarot straight as it does as a game mechanic, which is a little lame because like Volcano High was willing to be honest with it at least. I would like it if Stella knows because the cards told her. It's just like the cards keep saying that you're from another fucking world. It doesn't make sense. What's going on, Anon? Why do I get these readings of you being responsible for some grand apocalypse? Like, all her cards tell her is that Anon is not, he doesn't belong here. He's an old man and everything else, you know what I mean? That'd be great. That'd be a fun twist. We're not getting that because this motherfucker couldn't make a good plot if I hit him in the face with it. You could hand him his script and he'd fuck it up. Class, oh wait.